Welcome to Tea with Me. I am your host, Lakeisha Lynette Beeler, and this is the Angelscope for July 31st, 2022. Now, you will notice that throughout the week, I will do angel scopes, which will include an angel reading, and then some days I will do a moon scope. But it's the same thing in addition to the type of card I use. Like today I'm using a guardian angel card as far as the message to be able to amplify the particular message for the moon reading, because this is pretty much a horoscope, but instead of focusing on the position of the sun, it is focusing on the position of the moon and the moon's impact on our emotions and our psychology. Okay. So today the moon is in the mansion of the valley. The moon is in the sign of Virgo. Okay. And today the moon is setting a little bit later, and it's rising a little bit later, and it's setting a little bit later. So that is, possibly an indication of being able to harness the energy of the moon, later into the day, because typically the energy of the moon is strongest during moon rise and moon set. Okay. So weekends, typically people are resting, getting going later. So you can actually take advantage of the energy of the moon being more focused on community, business, commerce. This is a good day to kind of tidy up inside. Also a day to focus on your health and to specifically to look out for the health of others. We're still in the middle of COVID. Okay. So, I just kind of checked the news, because after I did the moon scope, like, okay, well, what is going on? It was a sensing that there's something. Usually the moon phases and the phases of the sun, but specifically the phases of the moon, because it impacts us on Earth so much more. It's really going to give you a clue into what is going on overall in the environment, in the atmosphere, in a particular region. So, prompted to read the news. Okay. So the news, our president has tested positive for COVID for the second time. Okay. So it's important, okay, for us to not think that we're out of the danger zone with COVID. Okay. So as far as the moon being in the mansion of the valley and focus on community, we need to make sure that we are taking precautions in order not to infect others with this virus. Okay. This is a good time to maybe hunker down, maybe stay in. I know it's summertime, but today specifically, because there's a lot of upheaval, not just with the COVID, but there is a sense of a lot of aggression in the atmosphere. Okay. So this would be a good time possibly not to maybe, take flights, or not to, be in large crowds. Okay. This is not unusual, considering what has been going on in the news lately with these mass shootings. Okay. So the mansion of the valley is kind of giving that extra guidance to maybe avoid some of these particular areas when we have recently seen in the news what is occurring. Okay. But with the moon energy right now and what is going on in the atmosphere and the climate, this would be a good time to kind of, maybe tidy up inside, spend time with family. But also, if you have a business like myself, you can use this time to kind of focus in the week ahead. Okay. Because kind of take the things off of the negative. It is really good planning. And this is something with this half of the year that I am implementing, where I am planning my week out. Okay. So you can start planning what you're going to do each day of the week. including what you're going to meals. Okay. This will help cut down on grocery costs and things like that. Even with kids, kids are going to be starting school. Some schools start back. So this is a great time to implement this where you're having children going to school, you're working to create a schedule. But the good thing is to plan it in advance. That is the benefit and that is the purpose for things like horoscopes and moon scopes. It's not to like dabble into some negative thing or whatever. You know how some religions believe that, oh, that's evil. You're not supposed to look to see what's going to happen before it occurs. And I totally don't believe in that. It's like, well, why not? The ancients did it. That's how they knew that Jesus was where he was going to be and where he was born. They were looking at the constellations. I myself, not to offend anybody, I don't find that to be beneficial in any way to just wait for things to occur to start dealing with it. I find that that's reactive versus being proactive. And the more planning a person does, the more proactive that you can be. So the phases of the moon can really help you to be able to plan in advance for how the energy of the moon and the energy of the different planets, which have been studied for hundreds and hundreds of years. It's not hocus pocus. The moon actually has an impact on the tides. Native American culture, a lot of the moons are named from the Native American culture. You got your harvest moon, you have your strawberry moon. These were these were things that were done and implemented to help with farming and things of that nature, agriculture. Okay. So we don't want to just throw these things away as being just magic and hocus pocus. At one point, these things were practical and they are still very, very, very helpful to us today, even though we have so much technology. That being said, this is a great time, especially July 31st, 2022, which this particular angel scope is for tidying up, implementing new health routines, as was the moon scope for July 30th was focusing on that. But it's really important to do that still because Chiron, the asteroid Chiron, which is considered to be the wounded healer, is in the planet of Aries. This is a really good time for us to make some really strategic changes collectively to clean up, so to speak, the mess that humans have made in the environment and Mother Earth. Mansion of the Valley is an earth element. This is a good time to focus on these things, okay? And for us to be focused on the community, which also the Mansion of the Valley emphasizes that, not just focusing on business and commerce, but also focusing on the community. And with Chiron in the sign of Aries, this is a time that we can put love in the atmosphere, which we need to combat all the aggression that is in the atmosphere, to help us move collectively as a group, collectively, wherever you are, whatever nation, but collectively as human beings on earth, but also to be able to protect Mother Earth and the natural resources that we have and that are so beneficial and helpful to our living here on planet Earth. Okay. So today, the focus on healing, healing Mother Earth, using the resources provided to us by Mother Earth to help us be able to live, healthy, successful lives, but also being able to combat all of the hate and aggression in the atmosphere and all the annoyances that you might feel for the different things that are occurring right now with love. Love always will conquer hate.